Yes, indeed. It's here, folks. The league draft, it's arrived. We have 11 mock drafts in the books leading to now. This is the first of 7 league drafts for me. Welcome to Total Hockey Now. I'm at Pucking Thoughts. To my left is at Ant Rivera 86 and at Fuzzy Chris 91. I believe all three of us got at least one mock in at some point today as a final preparation for this one.
Yeah, man. And as we talked off the air, 11 mock drafts this season. Our show has grown a lot throughout this summer, and that's a lot due to everybody participating, taking part, joining the chat, and being a part of all of our mock drafts. And now here we are. The day is at hand. The real draft is here. Christopher Brace getting ready to get sniped all over the place for this show. It's gonna be a big day today. I'm pumped, man.
Listen, I got I can hear the 8 Mile song in my head, by Eminem. My knees are definitely weak. Arms are heavy. There might be some vomit on this sweater later. It's not my mom's spaghetti, but
I'll be for the post-show edition.
Right. I'm here. All the work that we put in, all the ESPN drafts, all the Yahoo drafts, all the highs and lows. That's it. We're here now. And it's also like massive W to, I think everybody came back, right?
So far, it looks like there's a couple of people I saw coming in and out of the room, but I think we'll have at least 75% attendance tonight.
That's fantastic for people who want to join in and do this. It's kind of fun that way. I'm just looking to not get sniped here. I've already come to terms that I'm not getting Kirill, so
you're not getting Kirill, you're not getting Kale. I mean, let's be real. You're not getting a lot of what you want today if you got me and Gene drafting around you.
Or Craig, for that matter. So I did some mock drafts out of the 9-hole to see what the possibilities were. And that's what I'll leave it at. Can't tip my hat here now. It's serious business.
I'll say this. I feel like our spots, I'm at 7, a little less than your issue, but you're at 9. I think that's one of the tougher spots to draft in, especially when the top is so heavy from 1 to 6. 7 through 9 is a little tough to figure out which one of these guys you're gonna go for, because they're not the elite of the elite. They're really good, but they're not that top echelon guy that you would go for. And then Adam, like you got the snake, my friend.
I did. I mean, I've always said I love being on that turn at 12. I feel like that's where I do my most damage. And that's where I am. Did a couple of mocks in that spot, even though I pretty much mock from there when I'm not trying to change it up, that's where I default to. Or like I'll go to like 11 just to change it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy in the spot I'm in.
Ironically, the roll came out with you being in the 12th spot. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's collusion. I'm just saying Gary Bettman and Bill Daly definitely rolled that somehow.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first. Listen, everything was done on the up and up. We're not the NBA in 1985 with Patrick Ewing here, okay? So let's run through a couple of things quick here because we got about 9 minutes and change for the draft before it starts. We want to just go through the league settings. So here we go. 17 total positions, 2 centers, 2 left wings, 2 right wings, 4 defensemen. We add a utility position, unlike the standard Yahoo mock that we do. 2 goalies, 4 bench spots. Categories, and it's not total category. It's all the categories. So you can win, 8 to 5. It's not like, okay, well, you won 8 to 5, so you go to 1-0. So that way it keeps people in it more, I feel like. So you got goals, assists, power play points, shorthanded points, shots on goals, face-off 1, hits and blocks. And then for the goalie categories, it's wins, goals against, saves, save percentage, and shutouts. If I ever want to get evil, I will add losses into there. And then that really, changes goalie values a whole lot. And then just looking at draft and league info. I honestly forgot to set the clock to 45 seconds before it allowed me to do so. So it is a 60-second clock, but let's not abuse that, folks. I understand there'll probably be 1 pick or 2 picks each where we're like really going back and forth, but let's not take the full 60 seconds every time. $200 fab for the season. Top 6 teams make the playoffs. The top 2 seeds will get a bye. Trade deadline comes on March 11th, which is shortly after the NHL trade deadline. The playoffs begin through March 16th. Finals do take place March 30th to April 5th. I do not believe in using that last week and a half for the finals for the same reason you don't use week 18 in fantasy football. You have too many there's too many scenarios where guys can be resting players. You get like a Matthew Tkachuk, for example. If he was healthy, well, they're not going to play him a bunch down the stretch. So we avoid that scenario where try to keep the championship while the NHL season still has all meaningful games for everybody. 4 acquisitions maximum per week, 3 minimum goalie starts, and no trade reviews or vetoes because we are big boys here. So there we go. That is our draft update there. Let's check the chat here. Frank checking in. Good luck, everyone. He's got the top overall pick. We'll see if he goes away from McDavid and maybe spices things up a little bit. We shall see. A couple of pieces of news coming down today and yesterday that, one affecting the draft maybe a little bit more than the other. First of all, today's news, Mason McTavish signs a 6-year, $42 million extension with the Anaheim Ducks. So Chris disappointed because he was hoping that the Canadians would get him as the second-line center that they need. Nonetheless, Anaheim decides, hey, we're trying to be a young team that gets better. Here's a young guy that makes us better. And rather than drive him out of town like they've done with so many other players recently, they figure out a way to keep this guy in town. And he's a good hockey player.
Listen, I'm definitely sad about it. It sounds like the Anaheim Ducks had a little bit of a trying to meet him more. Somebody would say they were looking to give him like 5.5 for like 6 years, and I was like, there's no way there's no way he would have said yes to it. So I'm really happy that they took care of this, but I am definitely sad that he's not going to be a Hab.
I mean, that was one of the rumored spots. We were going to do a segment, where will he land? I'm glad we didn't waste people's time now, but nonetheless, I mean, like, where does he slot in there? He probably, I think Leo Carlson stays in that top line spot, but he's absolutely going to do that second line center spot, probably with Killorn and Cutter Gauthier. So it's a good spot for him.
Did trading away Trevor Zegras set this move in motion?
Probably gave them a little more freedom. That they weren't. I mean, listen, Trevor Zegras was like, he was never going to sign again in Anaheim. Like, everybody knew he was out. It was just a matter of time. So I think, just getting one headache out, and we'll see. He might resurge. I mean, he might rebound and resurge in Philly. So see how that goes. McTavish, from a fantasy perspective, he's a guy that maybe you're looking at later in drafts. You need that bench center. But now that he's got a set situation, maybe his ADP goes up a tiny bit. The one that probably had more of a fantasy impact, Aleksander Barkov. They're saying out for the season, but I'm 7 to 9 months, and if depending upon what Florida's situation is, don't know if you bring him back or not. He's gonna have knee surgery. If you saw the video in practice, just kind of like when you're down on your knees like that, and then you kind of get crunched, and you could be like, I don't like the way his legs spread there, and he couldn't get up, and yeah, that just wasn't a good look, and you knew immediately, like, okay, this guy's gonna be out for a long time. And listen, Matthew Tkachuk gonna be out a couple of months. Barkov gonna be out, assuming, for the season. So, maybe a guy like Sam Bennett has a little more value there. Or maybe Anton Lundell is a guy you draft later in rounds or something like that, or in later rounds. But, just not a good, lead into the season here for the Florida Panthers.
And I think we've talked about this probably last season, but is this going to be the beginning of the end for Florida, as they've went to 3 straight Stanley Cups? The wear and tear is starting to come now for this team. We will see how it ends up, but they are pretty deep throughout the entire team. So it's going to be interesting to see how their season plays out.
Listen, it's crushing for the team because you don't necessarily replace Aleksander Barkov. You don't replace the leadership that he brings. You don't replace everything that he does. Maybe the fantasy points aren't like there. Like, he's not a 90-point guy, but it's everything else that he does. Like, you could build a team with him being your top centerman, and nobody would bat an eye and go, oh, that's crazy. Also, it's heartbreaking that this happens in the year where the Olympics are happening, and he basically represents Team Finland.
Finland needs him.
Yeah, Finland needs all the help they can get, and now they lose Barkov, and that is a massive hole again that you just cannot replace. So this is tough. Knee injuries are they're hard to come back from. As somebody who watches Kirby Doc play hockey, they're hard to come back from. You try to get your shape. And it's not even just from a physical perspective, but also a mental. Like, how much is he going to be able to trust his knee coming back? Like, even if the doctor says, yes, you're 100% fine, there's always that fear of that.
The first time you want to cut off that leg, like, is it going to be there? Is it going to be the same? Exactly.
First time you want to cut, first time you take contact. Like, I feel so bad for him.
And yeah, I mean, you talk about like the heart and soul. Like, there's a lot of guys you could point to as heart and soul of the Panthers, but he's one of the guys. He's one of the core guys, and it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the Atlantic Division now too, because you don't have their top line center. You're not going to have their top, one of their top line wingers for the first couple of months. a fantasy perspective. Barkov was kind of like, all right, I haven't gotten a center one yet. I should probably get one before we go. He was kind of in that realm. Now you just kind of bump everybody up a bit. So we're about 3 minutes away from the draft here. Let's go through the chat. Gene checking in. Hey, boys, starting to feel the butterflies. And yeah, I mean, listen, there's no more mocks here. There's no more like, oh, I fell asleep at the wheel. Who cares? No, this is going to have season-long impact. So we got Gene checking in. We got Mitchell A. looking good, handsome bastard. I know he's not talking about me. Are you drafting on Yahoo? So, yes, we are doing a Yahoo draft. No disrespect to ESPN. Times are lean for hockey mock drafts. They're there for about 4 to 5 weeks, and we appreciate that. We're always good to have Yahoo back as well. Craig checking in. I hate picking 8th. Worst spot possible. Only silver lining is it's right before Chris. Exactly. So even if you don't enjoy your draft tonight, you don't enjoy your team. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I did do a mock. It was either last night or 2 nights ago, picking in the spot right before Chris, and every pick I took was the intention of trying to snipe what he would do. So yes, that is fun. And also McTavish was exactly the ideal number 2 center profile for the Habs. He said about it too, Chris. Yeah, I mean, listen,
that would have been a missing piece. We can cry together, Craig. We can cry together.
After he snipes you repeatedly.
If he snipes, I'm gonna cry no matter what. I might shed tears. I gotta hear a reusable thing here to clean glasses. I might use it to dab my eyes.
It might be needed. We'll see. I mean, again, Chris, like, if he would have gotten 5th, 6th, or even 7th, because maybe at 7 there's a hope somebody does something different and you get one of the 2 guys you wanted. Once you get beyond that, he's not happy. So Chris really wanted to be in that middle there. Not going to be the case. And we got 1:25. Go. It's the real deal's coming. And Frank is going to lead us off. Then you got Josh Wagner, Wally Geist. I saw him poking around before, so Wally should be back. Chris Wassel with the excellent Jersey Pizza and Pork Roll team name. I got to watch out for Chris Wassel. Don't sleep on Chris Wassel. Gene's there. We always love Gene. We'll see if Max Knights makes it in, Flying V's. And, of course, we got Lance Goodthrust with an excellent name there. Of course, Fuzzy Chris 91, Andrew Dewhurst. We'll see if he pops in World War III, and myself there on the turn as we are inside of a minute till the draft. So, folks, this is it. This is the one, and we'll do weekly updates, start on Thursdays throughout the season.
Max Knight's not being in the room hurts me if the auto draft is going on there for him.
It can hurt you, but now that if he's not in the room, you have to plan around that and maybe be like, all right, I know I can't let this guy go because he's probably not coming back. So that's
a trade. You can start from the 9 spot. You can draft right behind Craig.
Wow. All right, there we go. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Christopher Tiers may hit Tuesday. We shall see. That's also in reference to the FSGA draft coming up. That's one of the sharpest drafts to be in. Like that one, you got to mind your P's and cross your T's, not your I's, and all that. See, Mitchell, what do you think about 12th pick and a 12-man this year? Good or bad? We're gonna find out because that's where I love the draft from. So
I feel like that's always a good spot because you go right off the bat. You're going to.
So here we go. Draft has begun. No surprise there. Connor McDavid first off the board. Josh Wagner on the clock here. So he's going to take Leon Draisaitl. Then we got Wally Geist on the clock here. So we'll see if things hold steady. He goes Hellebuck. Oh, we have our first little twist early. That definitely opened things up. That Chris likes seeing that, as Hellebuck normally a guy going in that spot in the draft. Wally's going to go goalie early here. We'll see what Chris Wassel does. He probably was not expecting to decide between McKinnon and Kucherov or somebody else here. Now he's got a choice to make. Yeah. Of course, I mean, listen, Nate McKinnon falls in your lap. It's tough to really, I mean, yeah, I got to do it.
Damn, our first goalie, 3rd off the board, though. Love it.
That bodes well for our friend here. We'll see if any other twists come in this first round here. Still early. There goes Cale Makar. No surprise, 5th overall. So Max Knights on the clock here. See what Max Knights does here. I mean, a typical 6.
I'm going to say I'm feeling good right now.
And say there goes Kucherov. So normally he goes 4th overall. He falls down a tiny, tiny bit, but no surprise, not letting Kucherov slide any further. And Anthony has his first pick of the clock here.
Can we talk about G not taking Kirill?
It's interesting. I mean, listen, if Cale Makar is sitting there, I mean, if we talk about the importance of having a cornerstone defenseman in this league, I mean, if he's there, and I get it, it's tough to pass that up because you don't know how many defensemen are going to go before they get back to you.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
All right, so Kucherov goes 6th overall, Kaprizov 7th overall, Austin Matthews to Lance Goodthrust 8th overall. Chris on the clock here. Yeah, I mean the choice is, you know, I think there's two guys you can take here. I know who you're definitely not taking.
I didn't think I'd be put in this
Gene
predicament.
saying
boys,
it hurt.
right off the rip.
It hurt to pass on Kaprizov. Chris, he was eyeing Makar. There you go. This is a big one, Chris. I'm letting it go because it's first pick.
I know.
See, I really wish we could get into the mind of Wally G, not only to pass on McKinnon, Makar, and Kucherov.
See, I know Wally. Wally's a very shrewd player. You don't sleep on Wally, guys. Okay, don't sleep on that guy. He's a contender in one of my other leagues every year. And there goes Mikko Rantanen, 10th overall. No surprise there so far. Again, first round going Brady Tkachuk, and now I'm on the clock. So let's see what I'm gonna do here. So talked about the importance of getting that cornerstone defenseman. I'm not gonna pass up on Quinn Hughes. Now I got a choice to make. I could go I love Bill Nylander, Jack Eichel, can't go wrong, but I do talk about the importance of left wing and how when it goes, it goes. I haven't been taking a lot of this guy. Maybe subconsciously, I was doing that to hide the fact that I'm going to take him here. Give me Kyle Connor. Open up round 2, pick 13. With World War III back on the clock, taking Brady Tkachuk there. So far, as long as nobody in this room was in the same exact mock as me at about 4:25 Pacific time, so far this has gone exactly how the first 2 picks went in the last one, and I like how my team came out there. So we'll see. So then after my pick with Kyle Connor to open up round 2, Jack Eichel goes, no surprise there, and William Nylander. So right now, everything's pretty status quo. Now Chris back on the clock here after David Pastrnak going 9th overall.
You could do a lot worse in the 9 spot and getting David Pastrnak.
There we go. So maybe a little pre-snipe there on the Devils fan picking behind them as the clock goes back. Thank you. Yeah, excellent point by Mitchell. Contract year about to go nuclear. One of the only reliable sources in that Winnipeg offense. See what impact Jonathan Taves has on the overall lineup this year. He looks good in the Winnipeg Jets jersey there in the preseason. So yeah, Lance takes Jack Hughes there. Braden Point goes to Antlis quality center. As consistent as they come. Max Knight's on the clock here, and so he gets a goalie to go with his Nikita Kucherov pick after Kucherov fell into his lap at 6th overall. So he's going with a Tampa Bay Lightning double dip there. We'll see if he gets Jake Gensel. It's certainly possible if he wants to go that way at pick 3-6. As Gene's back on the clock, said it hurt to pass on Kaprizov, especially considering it's in his team name. But listen, Kale McCarr, it's tough to pass up on a guy like him. Defensemen, though, have not really gone very much yet. So far, just 2 off the board, 2 goalies off the board. Philip Forsberg goes there. Yeah, left wing. Got to get him. Chris Wassel back on the clock here. Took Nate McKinnon after he had him sitting there at 4th overall. Tough to not take Nate McKinnon at 4th overall. See what he pairs him with here. So far, again, draft has been very, we'll maximize it here for a minute just so you can take a look at the board. But, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hellebuck, McKinnon, Makar, Kucherov, Kaprizov, Matthews, Pastrnak, Rantanen, Tkachuk, and Hughes are your first-round picks. Coming back the other way, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, William Nylander, Sam Reinhart, who's going to be, he's going to be a big source of that Panthers offense. They're going to lean on him heavily. Jack Hughes, Braden Point, Andrei Vasilevsky, Philip Forsberg, and now Chris making his final decision here on his second pick. And this is where you're building the foundation of your team, and he takes Sidney Crosby. So he's going to double dip at center, and he's got 2 of the best ones there, the Prince Edward Island boys, and then Rasmus Dahlin goes after that. So Wally, he goes Hellebuck, Dahlin. Then Jake Ottinger goes, our 3rd goalie off the board, to Josh Wagner. And Frank, who, no surprise, takes McDavid with the 1st overall pick. He's going to go back-to-back here to close round 2 and open round 3. See what he does here. So Igor Shesterkin, the first one off the board. So on his first goalie that he takes, unfortunately not good. I was greedy of me to think that he would even consider. I could even consider that he would make it back to me at 312, but that's fine. We'll assess the goalie situation later. And then he double dips with the Rangers, takes JT Miller, should have a nice resurgent season. None of the BS in the Canucks locker room to deal with this year, and also dual position eligibility there. And yeah, Zach Werenski and Evan Bouchard going back to back there. Picks 2 and 3 in the third round, as we are now up to pick 28. Chris Wassel back on the clock as he took McKinnon and Crosby with his first 2 picks.
So many sharp people in this room. So proud.
You listen. There's nobody you could sleep on in here. And there goes Jesper Bratt. Listen, he's a strong winger there. Love the pick. Gene here on the clock. He's got Makar and Forsberg. Plenty of directions we could go here. There's nobody in this room that's a patsy, say.
It's not like those Yahoo drafts that you do like at 2 a.m. in the morning, 2 a.m. where it's mostly computers.
I enjoy those because you can really bang out a few. But like last night, I was doing one where like people were taking their time making decisions like it was a real draft. Like the eyes are getting heavy. It's like, what are we doing? It's a mock draft at 11:30 Pacific. Can we like make decisions just a tiny bit quicker, please? Because when the mock drafts go away soon, like then they lose their value. To me, like doing a mock draft after the season starts is like trying to tape record a game and then watch it later. Even if you shut the alerts off, like what happened, but you can just check your phone and see. So yeah, and then after Brad, Tage Thompson, Mitch Marner, 2 very strong picks there. I mean, if Tage Thompson was there when I was picking, I was for sure going to take him. I had no expectation of Mitch Marner getting back to me there. Chris, I had to have 1 homer pick. Yeah, as a Devils fan, listen, that's an appropriate spot to get a guy like Jesper. He's not, unless he gets hurt, he's not going to disappoint you.
I'm going to say that I'm going to listen to my wise sage and Christopher Moraes. If I got Kirill Kaprizov, I definitely going to have to take some stock in Matt Boldy here.
Oh, boy. We got shots fired going
look at that.
Jersey to Canada over here. Let's see. Artemi Panarin goes right after Boldy. So you got Thompson, Marner, Boldy, Panarin, 4 strong wing candidates there going in a row with Chris back on the clock. Mitchell A. What's the logic of going Helly before Nathan freaking McKinnon? Goalie style? They're not inflated in this league, but maybe he's going to go with maybe he's going to take another goalie coming up soon, and he's just going to try and stranglehold those 5 categories every week. Because if you have 2 really good goalies and you're starting off with 5 categories every week, that's you only have to win a few more at the skater categories. There goes Macklin Celebrini and Jake Gensel. So some of my favorites coming off the board here is I am 1 pick away. I am on the clock as there goes Connor Bedard. So yeah, I love this room, but this room sucks because I really don't love my options where I'm picking right now. All right. All right. First one, give me Clayton Keller. I'm going to be very fine with taking him there. All right. You know what?
Do it.
Chris talked about this guy a lot the other day, and he's punting. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Give me Philip Gustafson. There goes Anthony Stolarz. So we got a couple of goalies off the board surprisingly before Blackwood, but see where he ends up. But back-to-back goalies there. I love that Stolarz pick. In the previous mock, I went Shesterkin, Stolarz as my pair. I was going to try and pull off something similar, but that's not going to be the case here. So I'm happy with Philip Gustafson. I think he gets the lion's share of the starts there in Minnesota on a good team. A lot of us believe in the Wild on this show, but it's only Chris's adopted Central. Expect some Winnipeg regression, though. Probably talking about the Hellebuck pick. Depends on the league. I won an FSGA and FS last year with Hellebuck. Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe they start him a few less times this year to try and see if that maybe makes a difference in the playoffs. Craig, I took Stolarz in the last 76 mocks. Yeah, I mean, that happens. Sometimes you have your guys that oh, yeah, I always get them, and then they don't go, and you're just stymied for the next round or two. Yeah, it stinks. But there we go. So Philip Gustafson opens up round 4. Anthony Stolarz, then Nick Suzuki, Mackenzie Weegar to Chris, who's a guy. He gets his first defenseman there. No shame in getting Weegar, who's a stat filler across the board. Roman Yossi, Lane Hudson. So a little mini green wave going with Max Knights on the clock here. Pick 43, he takes Jason Robertson. Gene back on the clock here. People are waiting on goaltenders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 off the board through 42 picks. Obviously, Sergei Bobrovsky, we talked about how they may not play him as much. And now with everything that's going on in Florida, his stock maybe takes a little bit of a hit there. There goes Tim Stutzla. So listen, again, strong teams across the board here. Gene's got Makar, Forsberg, Thompson, Stutzel. And then Chris back on the clock here with McKinnon, Crosby, Jesper Bratt. We'll see who he takes with this pick. Chris, how do you feel about your team? 4 picks in, you were a little concerned. Chris Wassel takes Adam Fox and Moritz Seider. So yeah, a little mini green waves becoming bigger.
Fox. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like this is a strong start for your boy.
You're happy. You could listen. You could have. You take lemons and you're making lemonade out of it. You didn't like your draft position, but I feel like you're still putting together a strong team.
I got lemons, and we're drinking tequila straight from the bottle. Like that's where we're at right now. There's no two ways around that.
After Adam Fox, Moritz Seider, Mark Scheifele at pick 411, 47th overall there, and Frank, who has got McDavid, Shesterkin, and Miller. We'll see what he does here with to go close round 4. He takes Cole Caulfield. So Chris definitely off of his cue. We'll see what he does to open round 5. Thank you for watching and joining us, by the way. If you are, give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Total Hockey Now at Total Hockey Now.
Every time you snipe me, you have to like.
That's true.
Share.
That's a fair trade. That is a fair trade. Then Marty Natchez to open round 5 there. Expected to maybe try and get some of that similar production that Rantanen had skating alongside Nate McKinnon on that top line. There goes Alex Ovechkin, pick 5-2. So maybe somebody Ant was considering if he had gotten back to him. Adrian Kempe, one of my guys. There he goes to Wally. Listen, Wally is building the team from the crease out. Connor Hellebuck, Rasmus Dahlin, Evan Bouchard, Moritz Seider, and now a quality top line, quality right wing one, Adrian Kempe. He got the memo that center's a deep position, and you can wait a little bit there.
That's a pretty good build right there.
Because now you don't look at defensemen for all. Now you just take who you want from the forward positions. He's got to get a second goalie at some point, but you got Hellebuck, so you can wait a little bit. Chris Wassel on the clock here, who he's got McKinnon, Crosby, Bratt, and Fox. It's his first 4. 17-round draft here. Filling these teams out here on Total Hockey Now, special Saturday evening edition. You got us on while you're watching some college football or preseason hockey. We appreciate that. And we're still with you on Thursdays. We got one more mock draft coming because the season doesn't start. Even though we're doing our draft tonight, we'll have one more mock for you. We're going to do a 14-teamer. We're going deep in that one.
You're hanging out with us on a Saturday night. I mean, listen.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's real. That's real degen status, and I approve.
Speaking of degen status, on Thursdays, once we get into the season, the first half hour will be news, headlines, fantasy stuff. But once the clock hits 5:30, we're going to run the board and preview that night's slate and give you some of our picks and props. Perhaps we'll see what we got. Let's get back to the draft here. After Adrian Kempe went to Wally Geis, Josh Morrissey to Chris Wassel. So he's got a Fox Morrissey 1-2 punch on the blue line. Can't go wrong there. And then Wyatt Johnston to Gene, Victor Hedman to Mac, Nico Hischier. So, listen, he grabs Hischier. He knows that either Chris or I are probably going to take him at one of the next 2 picks. He doesn't take him there. Jake Sanderson to Lance Goodthrust, and Chris back on the clock here. See what he does. I should get ready here because I'm only picks away.
I got sniped twice there, by the way, in case anybody wants to keep count.
I'm going to say Hischier and Hedman.
Hischier and Sanderson there.
Sanderson, okay.
So we're having fun is what I'm putting together here.
The tone of voice does not indicate that.
Back to back. Oh man, that I wasn't prepared for that. That's unfortunate.
Got about 9 seconds here.
I'm gonna reach, and we're talking about a lot here.
Why? That's the story of the draft. The guy
That's the
who we
story of the
can't
century
stand.
right there.
But you know what? That's about what his ADP has been skyrocketing. Like used to getting towards the end of the draft. There goes Robert Thomas. Somebody I was looking at.
I don't like it, but that's where
There's
we're at.
Alex Brincat. All right. I got decisions to make here. No. I'm not going to do that quite yet. Yeah, I'm going to take my time on this one. So you just got, I got a lot of ways I can go here. I got to figure out what I want to do. And how do you feel about your team so far?
I think I've landed everyone that I've wanted so far. So for me, I feel good to start this draft. I did do a couple of mock drafts, and I did get Kaprizov in a mock draft this morning. So I'm very grateful for that, to team him up with Boldy and Braden Point and Heischer at the center position, and then Lane Hudson. I got him last year. He was a big part of my defense last year, so why not bring him back?
All right, so I make my first pick there. Dylan Larkin a little bit early, but you know, we've talked about how he's a good top line center if you've waited a little bit and the board's starting to go, and I do feel like the board's starting to go there. So
if you don't get one of the really top line centers and you come away with Nico Heischer or Dylan Larkin, I think you're in like a good space.
All right, I'm gonna go defenseman here because I know by the time they get back to me, I'm not in love with this guy, but I mean, in Vegas, an improved squad this year. He's sitting there to open the 6th round. Give me Shea Theodore. My defenseman, 2 behind Quinn Hughes. There goes Seth Jarvis. Triple position eligibility there.
Yes.
World War III. Andrew DeHurst back on the clock so far. He's got Ranton and Nylander, Gensel, Suzuki, Thomas. That's Brandon Hagel there. So just really just putting together a solid team. Again, nobody's putting together a bad team here. As Chris is back on the clock. Took Pedersen last round, which was very much a surprise.
It was to me, too.
Got Weegar, Celebrini, Sam Reinert, David Pastrnak. No goaltenders yet.
We'll change that.
No Canadians yet. And he takes Mackenzie Blackwood. I almost took him at the last pick, but I was like, There goes my guy, Mikhail Sergachev, another guy I was considering there, but I felt like at that ADP, I get better value for Theodore. But I'm sad to see my boy Sergachev go. He served me well last season. There goes Dustin Wolf. Another strong goalie there.
I was trying to see how far Blackwood was going to fall.
I'm surprised he made it to the 6th round's a little far for him. But you know, look, ever since Gustafsson and Stolarz went back to back, nobody's touched goaltender. Yeah, everybody's waiting.
I think that was going to be my pick if it came in this round. But since Chris took him, I think Dustin Wolf for me is just a good pick as well.
Listen, with Calgary, you may not get as much wins as maybe some other goalies, but he's going to take care of every other category for you if he plays the way he played last year.
Yeah.
Injury Ninja is going to hammer Blackwood, sadly. And that's kind of why I hesitated taking him, because there was already something about, he should be fine for the opener. I'm like, we're going to start this game now? No, I'm not doing it. Marek's here. Buddy Marek. Always happy to have him. So after Dustin Wolf, Rupe hints to Max Knights. He's going to get that production being with Rantanen for a full season. Thomas Harley, the other defenseman I was considering taking besides Sergachev there, but I went Theodore. Jordan Binnington going to Chris Wassel there, going to be the man in St. Louis. Matthew Nye speaking coattail points on Austin Matthews' line. Sebastian Aho, Ilya Sorokin. So Frank going to go with the New York double dip as his goalies, which is Sturkin and Sorokin.
That's a lot of Russia there.
See, Mitchell, that information would have been a little bit more helpful maybe about 3 minutes ago, but thank you for that. But hey, maybe that's just an experiment, but we'll see. I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm not going to physically watch his groin, but we will keep an eye on the news related to the groin. But yes. Bad luck for Florida losing their top guy. No kidding. Yeah, listen. Getting 3 cups in a row is going to be quite the task for them. Vegas has definitely been toying with it. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, he's still, at 11 and 57 last year, or that's his projection for this year, I should say. So we'll see. Opening up round 7, excuse me, John Tavares. And then there goes Sergei Bobrovsky and Aiden Hill. So some of the top, we'll say the top 12 are probably off the board right now. Chris Wassel back on the clock. And listen, Wally Geist there, he's got a Hellebuck Hill pairing. I mean, that's going to be, that could be your 2 division champions in the West this year. See what Chris does here. Last 3 picks have been from the blue line back with Fox, Morrissey, Binnington in rounds 4, 5, and 6. He's got the clock here with pick 7-4, pick 76 overall. And he takes Dylan Strome. Again, talk about coattail riding points. On a line with Ovechkin. Why not? Gene back on the clock here. Picking Thomas Harley a couple of stars the previous 2 rounds with Johnston and Harley. He takes Jacob Markstrom, saying, hey, listen, quality goalies are going. He doesn't have one yet. It's be the top guy in Jersey. Had a little A&W for lunch. It was delicious. There goes Jacob Chikrin.
Yeah, Max Knight got me on that one.
All right, so Ant has been sniped. So we are about halfway through round 7 here. Exactly halfway. Nice to see the last Flower game. Yeah, that was, from the stacking the pad save in practice to Crosby driving with the 29 magnet on his door to, it's been a cool little way to add some flavor to the preseason, which even for hockey junkies like me, I'm kind of like, okay, like other than trying to see line combinations and stuff, there's not a whole lot of preseason. I'm not going out of my way because we got a little goalie wave going here. There was a long period where they didn't go, and now they're going because after Markstrom and Chikrin, you see Logan Thompson and Linus Olmark go back-to-back. Chris took a goalie last round after Mackenzie Blackwood fell to him, and he takes Dougie Hamilton as his second defenseman. Andrew on the clock here, taking Brandon Hagel last round. I got to get ready for my pick here. As Darcy Kemper goes, so goalies are going, and Drake Batherson goes. I'm kind of forced into taking a goalie with this pick, aren't I? The way they've all gone. Still need a goalie, too.
Nah, let it run.
If this was a mock, maybe I would experiment with it. Well, what I'm going to do is there's one guy for sure I'm going to take. Let me get straw that stirs the drink in the Blues offense there, Mr. Jordan Kyrou. And then... I'm basically repeating what Chris did in his draft goalie-wise on Thursday. Gustafson and Saros. I hope you've enlightened me and opened me up to that because I kind of got backed into it here with the second goalie. Maybe I should have gone with Blackwood instead of Theodore. Maybe that's my mistake.
If it doesn't work out, I'm not responsible for it.
I know. Listen,
not today at least.
I'm a big boy. Chris says let it run a little, but listen, I'm not taking any draft advice from anybody in the room with me right now. I mean, maybe it's good intention, maybe it's not. Travis Konechny goes after Matthew Schaefer goes there, so Schaefer will probably get some opportunities to run that Islanders power play, and if he does well with it, he's probably gonna be his to lose. Because Ivan Demidov been picked yet, he is not. Dylan Gunther goes. There goes Lucas Raymond. So we got some wings off the board here. In fact, for right wings, 4 of the last 6 picks. So, actually 5 of the last 7 if you include Batherson, who's got dual position eligibility. Ant's back on the clock here. He's got his goalie situation locked up, double dipping, but it's smart the way goalies went. He gets Wolf and Thompson.
Let's take a chance here.
Nikolai Ehlers, who's going to be on that top line in Carolina. He counted on to produce for him. Chris, you sniped Craig, Silver Fox himself.
Nice.
There goes Kirill Marchenko.
I'm glad I could contribute, Craig.
Marchenko is going to be relied on to be a goal scorer for Columbus this year for sure. As Gene's back on the clock here, taking Jacob Markstrom and Thomas Harley. The previous 2 rounds, we are past the halfway point in round 8. And past the halfway point in round 8 means we are past the halfway of the point of the draft here. He takes Timo Meyer at pick 88, 92 overall, with Chris Wassel back on the clock here. He's got Strome and Binnington and Morrissey his last 3 picks. See what he does here. The other reason I'm okay with the Theodore pick is with Pietrangelo out. That's a little less competition there. I'm okay. I'm okay with that Theodore pick, even though in hindsight, maybe I should have gone goaltender. I'm not terribly upset with it. And at least I know with Saros, he's going to be a workhorse for them, if nothing else. So I'm okay with that. So after Timo Meier goes Valery Nichushkin, Yuri Slavkovsky, and Matvey Mishkov. Frank takes Seth Jones, one of my favorite defensemen to take as a D3. Close out round 8 and to open up round 9. We'll see what he does here, but he's got his goalies with Shesterkin and Sorokin. Takes Dylan Holloway, another, a guy he had last year, and then I acquired him from him, and unfortunately, I'm not going to get him back this year.
Gonna have to do it again, I guess.
A little bit of seller's remorse maybe there as he opens up round 9. Listen, Dylan Holloway gets slept on, and he could have an even better year this year now that he's had a full season playing with the Blues. Dylan Holloway, Kevin Fiala, Andrei Svechnikov, your first 3 picks around 9. Chris Wassel back on the clock here. He took Nichushkin with his last pick, Dylan Strome, Jordan Binnington, Josh Morrissey, Adam Fox, Jesper Bratt, Sidney Crosby, and Nathan McKinnon. Rounds out his squad. He takes Jet Greaves. So yeah, goalies are going. This is very similar to a league I'm in with some of my old Sirius XM colleagues where goalies go quickly. Like they're pretty much off the board, not to the way tougher extent of this league. They're gone usually by round 5 at the last, any quality goaltender. So some vibes of that league in this league here with Jet Greaves going off the board. Listen, Merzlikins is probably not going to push him all that much. It's his job to lose.
I think there's just a deeper crop of goalies this year. A lot of guys in the middle ground that'll give you some good stats for the regular season.
And then there goes Vinny Trocheck, another favorite of mine to take there because he's an across the board guy and he should have some slightly better numbers here with at least expected to be better Ranger squad. There goes Noah Dobson at pick 9-6 at 102 overall. Tomas Hertl, hoping maybe he'd get back to me. Samuel Montembeault, thought about him, but passed and went with Saros. Tomas Hertl to Ant there. It's a strong pick with Chris back on the clock here, taking Dylan Gunther, Dougie Hamilton, and Mackenzie Blackwood with his last 3 picks. Maybe he was thinking about Montembeault as a goalie too. Maybe he got sniped. Maybe that's what this is about.
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. I do need a goalie though, so we'll go this route instead, even though I hate it.
All right, Jeremy's Canadians fan having
wow, that is what is happening. Did Chris speak too soon? Because I did not see him getting Jeremy Swayman or Pedersen.
Yeah.
So what's happening? Are you
crazy? I didn't see it either. I just want you to know some things are being thrusted upon me here, and I'll take it, I guess.
All right. So Tom Wilson goes after Brandon Montour. I'm back on the clock here. Let's see. Let's see what I have to here with my 2 picks. All right, first. And listen, I know his ADP is a tiny bit later, but give me a piece of that Minnesota top 6 there. Joel Eriksson Ek is my second center. Certainly nothing wrong with that. And now I've bought myself a little time to make a pick here. There's 2 guys I'm considering here, but I think it's tough to pass on this guy as a defenseman 3. Charlie McAvoy. He's going to be playing. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt because with that Bruins team, an injury maybe and how bad they're expected to be, maybe he stays out. There's somebody else I was considering there. I'm not going to say his name in case he does happen to make it back to me. But yeah, I'm very okay with Charlie McAvoy there. Time to take that ultimate swing. Yeah, this is once you get into those late single digit, early double digit rounds, this is where you go and get your guys and try and make sure that, yes, you're always drafting best available, but this is where you got to start looking at what's left at each position and trying to plug those holes. He wants to know, does Lafreniere finally stay on power play 1? He's going to start there.
The tweet that I said when what's his face Sullivan said, "Oh, it's a good way to get it to work." I was like, man, maybe we're getting closer to that day.
I think they're going to give him every chance to maintain that spot, and it's up to him. And there goes Karel Vejmelka. So goalie 3's starting to go here. Jackson Lacombe, that was the other defenseman I was considering. So good pick by Ant there. Ultimately, I decided, with McAvoy, you get a little bit more hits than Lacombe, but Lacombe certainly came on that second half of the season with Anaheim and could have a big year there on the Joel Quenneville. There goes Matthew Tkachuk. So the slide stops for a guy who's going to miss the first 2 months of the season. They're going to rely on him when he gets back, but we'll see, how, if he has little tweaks and bangs, we'll see how many, if he plays through them or if they try to be careful with him. But
that's a good spot to take him now. I mean,
he really can't go
half
any
a season out of it, then, works out well.
You basically count on him being a nice little December present for you. Got the IR spots. You may as well use them. Here goes John Carlson. So that tier of defenseman starting to go. Luke Hughes. So Chris Wassel gets another one of his guys there. And we'll see what Wally does here. Probably not looking at goaltender. Get Zach Hyman. Maybe hoping for a little bit of a bounce back campaign. Edmonton, certainly not the year he had 2 years ago, but maybe, split the difference. Josh Wagner on the clock. JJ Peterka, a guy I was considering, but I also don't like to be too stacked on one team at key positions unless I make that exception for Boldy and Kaprizov. Beyond that, I really don't. Maybe a Matthews-Nyes pairing, depending upon ADP, but after Peterka goes Alex Tuck. We are now into round 11. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds to go here. Picks will probably start to move a little bit quicker as we get further down, start to get, the guys you want deep, because everybody's got their favorites that they want in the later rounds of drafts here. Let's expose a little bit more of that the draft board there. We'll go back from round 8. And Ricard Raquel going for the Pittsburgh Penguins there. So he goes Tuck and Raquel, his 10th round and 11th round picks. Josh Wagner back on the clock. Takes Eric Carlson there after Mishkov, Fiala, and Peterka. Quentin Byfield. Wow, love that pick. He gets slept on drafts. He's a guy that just doesn't go sometimes and like, oh, yeah, I probably should have taken him. Alexander Nikishin there from Carolina. So see how that shakes out with their blue line, but he's expected to take over some of that power play time. Max Knights on the clock here. He ended Matthew Tkachuk's slide the previous round and then had Noah Dobson the round before that. Ivan Demidov goes. So Gene, after sniping Chris last year, snipes him on his guy this year. Because I got to imagine in the 11th round, the way this draft is going, Chris was probably taking.
He couldn't get one Russian, so he got another one.
Matt Duchene goes there to Max Knights. And Chris, Ant's on the clock here after taking Jackson Lacombe and Tomas Hertl. I won't quite call them snipes, but definitely two guys that I wouldn't have minded making back to me in those respective, Hertl at least, and Lacombe I passed on. There goes Pavel Buchnevich, a guy you've been drafting heavily.
Yeah.
Another triple position eligibility player. Yeah.
Gotta get it.
There goes Carter Verhaeghe. Oh, good pick, Lance. Good pick.
Okay.
This is a sharp room, folks. Not a lot to be had. Where you go and get what you got to get. So Horvat goes after Chris there. Good value pick.
I just want you to know in every single mock draft I did, my team did not look anything like this.
No.
It's crazy how much prep you can do and still come out with something completely different than what you bargained for.
There are pieces that look like what I've been mocking, but not entirely. Definitely my goalie situation is a fresh look there. Gabe Velarde goes, all right, so speaking of triple position eligibility, give me Mr. Steven Stamkos.
That would have been my other pick, by the way, if it wasn't...
I'll buy into that bounce back campaign. Now, go defenseman or goalie here. If Jackson Coleman made it back. All right, I have a real decision to make here because there's two goalies I want, and neither one of them is probably going to be there for me when I get back. So I really have to make a decision here. Sorry, I'm milking this one down all the way. Stand by.
You got time. Take your time.
I've been
You know,
quick on most picks. I'm milking this one. I got to make it.
you are the defending champ, so we will allow you to use the clock that you have granted yourself.
All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I think this guy's going to have a
Do
great
it.
season.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, Adam. Come on.
There we go. That's my guy. I had to get the third goalie, and I've been talking him up pretty much every mock draft.
You have.
Marek,
And you'll get to see him play in person.
Yeah, that'll be. Oh, and also Marek throwing some shade on the Mets, and Chris, Mets ain't dead yet. So there we go. There goes Coach Chekhov. So there we go. Goalies are going. At least I don't have to look at the position anymore because I'm not going to take a third. I'm not going to take a fourth. That's just silly. So
who are your
I know
three
I can
goalies
just
again?
move on from that. What's up?
Who are your three goalies again?
Lucas Dostal, UC Saros, and Philip Gustafson. I'm okay with that 1, 2, 3.
You can't. That is a good solid 3.
Yeah, I'll listen. If Nashville actually plays to the level of talent on the roster, I'm very. And Demko is the other guy. That's who I was torn with, but I was like, health. I mean, I guess Kevin Lankinen's not a threat. There goes Mika Zibanejad, who people think he's going to be playing on that right wing there with Miller. It looks like so. Maybe people think bounce back campaign for him.
I hate every single goalie I've taken.
I hate it for you.
Listen, sometimes the draft board just gives you stuff and you got to roll with the punches.
Blackwood, Swayman, Demko. If Demko stays healthy, you're in good shape. And
I'm going to need his medical reports after this. Give him a little pep talk or something.
You can send those medical records to Total Hockey Now if you're watching. Vancouver Canucks medical staff, totalhockeynow@gmail.com.
Send them to me. I need to know what's happening here.
So we got some maybe the wave of defensemen going here. If you look in these last 3 rounds, it's heavily green with Neil Pionk and Colton Parayko going back-to-back picks there. Radko Gudas going the second pick of round 12 after I took Dostal, Morgan Riley. So, yeah, we got green going. Morgan Riley now off the board. Chris Wassel takes he takes Lafreniere. So Chris maybe was thinking about him. Not going to happen. And, hey, maybe a little foreshadowing earlier when he talked about him. Will Evangelista demand a trade? I have no idea what's going on with Luke Evangelista at Nashville. We shall see. Yeah, a little foreshadowing. He talked about Lafreniere staying on the top power play unit. Takes him. And hey, Cam Fowler going to Josh Wagner. That's one of my favorite bottom defensemen to take. After Matthew Barzal goes, and now we'll see what Frank does to close round 12 and open round 13 on Total Hockey Now. 2025-26 league draft. Appreciate you watching, whether you're doing it live, doing the draft along with us in the league, or you're just somebody prepping for one of your own or hanging out on a Saturday evening. Clock running down here. We got about 20 seconds. Takes Zane Parik, the Calgary Flames. Certainly a popular pick at this point in the draft if you need defensemen. Should get some minutes there in Calgary. See what he does to open up round 13.
Well, the good news is I don't
Decisions are made here because again, when you're picking at the ends of the rounds, when you're on the turns, you got to sometimes make picks with knowing like maybe I should take player X here, but if I really want player Y, there's no way he's going to make it back to me. So let me do that instead. He gets Sam Bennett, and listen, going to be the top line center in Florida, probably the bulk of the season.
Yeah,
and they're paying him certainly enough money. Took a little bit of one. There's Zeev Boyum there goes. So 3 straight defenseman picks for Josh Wagner. So let's see if that fills out his blue line. Yeah, with Zach Werenski. So he's making sure his blue line's all taken care of with 4 rounds to go for him. Brock Nelson going after that, a guy that's got slept on in a lot of drafts. Hey, he's gonna be the second line center in Colorado. That's not nothing. Marek wants to know why McDavid's not signed yet. I thought
he's trying to figure out where else he can go play once he sees that team in action.
And listen, we'll talk about him because he just went about 5 picks ago. Cam Fowler, according to Elliot Friedman, 3 years, $6.1 million for Cam Fowler. So there we go.
He turned 1 playoff series into $6.1 million. Well done.
Yeah, but you know what? If you look at what he did in Anaheim all those years, he was one of those defensemen like, when Anaheim was bad, like, if he was just on a better team, and he finally got on a better team. So, and when he was He's still fantasy-wise, he was always relevant as like a bench or a defenseman. There goes Mikael Granlund. Talk about triple position eligibility in Anaheim there. We'll see where they slot him in now that McTavish is all set to go. Stuart Skinner going. So probably the last of the goalies here. Hey, Gene says, I know I will regret this. And yeah, you might. Or it's the steal of the draft in round 13 if he finally figures it out.
I was gonna say there's no middle though, Gene, by the way. It's
no
all
middle.
good or it's all bad. There's no middle there.
This is feast or famine definition right there. There goes Freddie Anderson. So goalies are.
I'm a little surprised that this guy dropped all the way to 12, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Nazem Kadri here.
Quality center. As far as center twos go for your fantasy team, he's right there. And then Will Cooley goes to Lance Goodthrust. Sean Monahan there to Chris. Goalies that are left: Joey Decord, John Gibson, or you're starting. Askarov's another one. In terms of guys expected to start, Samuel Urson. Aaron Ekblad goes, and I got to get my next pick ready here. Will not be a goalie, I'll tell you that.
We know, Adam. We know.
No goalie? What?
There goes Mike Matheson. All right, so I believe in cast-off points. Devin Taves is my defenseman 4. Now let's see. I'm going forward. So whoever, World War III, I'm going forward. I don't know if I'm going to take your guy, but I'm going forward. Wow, look at that Barkov just sitting there. I feel bad. Let's see. All right. Because they're on separate lines or expected to be on separate lines, I'm going to do it. Give me Logan. And I know Chris was probably going to take him if I didn't take him. So I'll deal with that. It's because they're on separate lines. I'm not stacking. I'll deal with it with you. I'm very okay with that.
I'll allow it.
John Gibson going. So probably one of the last starting goalies off the board there. Brian Rust trying to get that Crosby coattail points. Got Chris back on the clock here. He took Sean Monahan last round. Thatcher Demko, Bo Horvat. Chris not putting together a bad team, just a team of guys he's not really fans of.
Yeah,
silence.
That would be the correct way to put it. Just guys that I was like, I didn't know we'd be here, but here we are. Here's another one that's added to the list.
Pierre-Luc Dubois, if you buy the last year's bounce back. And this round goes one round deeper than most of the mocks we've done because of that utility position. Important to keep that in mind.
I feel like I could do a lot worse than Drew Doughty as my 4th.
Yeah,
defenseman.
I mean, listen, he's no spring chicken, but as a 4th defenseman, sure. And he missed half of last year, and he was out of the first round of the playoffs, so he should be fresh.
Yeah.
Pavel Dorofiev there goes with Vegas. So power play stud. Maybe a part of that 5-man unit they were experimenting with. See what dinner time's coming up. We got Gene on the clock here. Took Stuart Skinner last round. Morgan Riley the round before that. Ivan Demidov before that. And speaking of old kings, and he's going to have a farewell tour this year, Mr. Andrei Kopitar. Definitely going to raise his number to the rafters probably some point next season. I would imagine you're not going to wait too long to do that. And there goes Joey Decord. So the last of the starting goalies drying up here. As Chris Wassel gets Joey Decord, and then Tony DeAngelo going to Wally. Guys, listen, Tony DeAngelo looked real good with the Islanders last year. So we'll see how that slots in now that Schaefer's around. And there goes Mason McTavish, story of the day. He was the other guy I was considering besides Logan Cooley there. Ultimately decided I wanted the upside with Cooley. And there goes Gabriel Landeskog. So he's going to be back for his first full season in a long time. And hey, left wingers, they go. So you got to get them. There it is. See what he does to open up round 15 here as we're closing in on the last 3 rounds of the 25-26 Total Hockey Now League Draft. Thanks for spending your Saturday with us here at Total Hockey Now. Be with you all season long every Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern time, with a preview for that night starting at 5:30.
Oh, just as he was going through it. I think somebody took your guy, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I've been sniped. Listen, I know it's a round away, and maybe I could have gotten Philip Hronek instead of Taves. Man, Philip Hronek has been like my security blanket, defenseman 4, defenseman 5. I mean, I have Quinn Hughes, so maybe it's not as essential here, but just Hronek's one of those guys where I've probably taken him in at least 90% of my mock drafts. At least. And there goes William Eklund.
That's another one of your guys, no?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Another one of my late round guys. Chris Wassel knows me. He knows I got a soft spot for Sharks. So both the animal and the team. We got Gene back on the clock. McTavish going a couple rounds ago. He got that 6-year, $42 million extension with the Ducks. You know, I'm not buying them as a playoff contender this year, but they are going to be, and maybe they sniff the wild card into March, but I don't think they're going to be a terrible team this year. They might be a slightly better than bad, but they're not going to be one of the, they're not going to be in the draft lottery consideration this year. I don't think they're really going to have it. They're not going to be have a chance at the first overall pick, I guess is what I'm getting at. So Marco Kasper, another guy, young guy in Detroit that's expected to take a step forward. Mark Stone, back-to-back Vegas Golden Knights from Max Knights there. Mark Stone made it through the season relatively healthy last year. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row.
I didn't do this in any of our mock drafts, but I am going to do it here and take the goalie tandem from Washington. That's
smart. Listen, the way goalies have been going in this league, that's a handcuff. You know, they maybe Logan got a little bit more of the workload last year, but they played, I think, Charlie Lindgren 38 games last year.
Yeah.
So
to go along with Dustin Wolf, I feel like I'm set.
Yeah, I think you might have one of the better goalie trios in the league right now. Darnell Nurse going after him with Chris on the clock.
Another triple position eligibility player here.
Cole Perfetti, a guy you've been taking in late in drafts.
Good for Cole. Welcome to the squad.
All right, so Frank Vetrano goes. I'm coming up next.
You got this.
See. Barbashev went. Good. I wasn't really considering him there, but I maybe one that
was a good pick. That was who I was also looking at sitting there.
It's decision.
So many sharps.
All right, there's no sneaking by it. There's no sneaking anything by anybody in the room. That's just not happening today. Why you gotta be? That's why we're sweating each pick just a little bit more, right? All right, I'm gonna make my first pick here. Give me a piece of that Colorado top 6 and some shorthanded points with Arturi Lehkonen.
Oh, okay.
Dual wing eligibility there.
Yes.
He's gonna be skating with Nelson and Landeskog.
That's not a bad pick there.
Not at all. All right, so there are plenty of quality forwards here, but I would love to get my bench defenseman wrapped up. Listen, his value takes a little bit of a hit, you know, here, especially with no plus minus in this league. No, so I'm going to pass on him. There's no plus minus in this league, so that changes everything.
There is never plus minus in any league, by the way, in case you have a fantasy draft coming up.
All right, I'm going to take Thomas Chabot here. He's a 5th defenseman. Jake Sanderson stumbles at all. He's going to get those opportunities. And there's going to be a forward I'm okay with taking. There may not be a defenseman I'm okay taking in round 17. I will find some scrap bin, bargain barrel, whatever, you know, forward I'm happy with there. And Alexi Protas, listen, late round picks. These are, you know, guys that, you know, we maybe didn't go in the mocks we did, but listen, he's a guy that's expected to take a step this year. You know, Connor McMichael's still out there. That's another one. But talking about Washington guys.
Another triple position eligibility player right here.
Morgan Geeky. Somebody's going to have to score in Boston besides David Pastrnak. Matt
I mean,
Coronado.
I got a nice little stack there with Pasta and Geeky. So that's terrible. Do I have I have 3 Boston Bruins on my team?
Oh,
I
this is
don't
gonna
know
be
how
a
this
great
happened.
season because yeah, you're gonna
I
have to.
truly don't know how I did this.
Why does Chris hate plus minus? Because it's not an
The
actual
worst stat.
evaluation. We've discussed this on the show. Plus minus has value at its extremes. If you're minus 50, you're a terrible defensive player. If you're plus 70, you're probably a very good defensive player and offensive player. But pretty much anywhere in between, you really can't extrapolate too much.
If you play for the Sharks, you're like minus 30, and it's not your fault.
Yeah. Chalet showing some love to Gene. I mean, listen, Gene drafting a good team is like the same amount of breaking news as like the sun rising tomorrow. That's what Gene
Water
does.
continues to be wet.
I mean, Gene he brings the lunch pail. He's got the sandwich. He's ready to go. He came focused. He's not doing this while watching Penn State, Oregon. Yeah, he came to work, and there we go. So Noah Hannafin, another defenseman I was considering, usually a guy I take late. Ant gets him this time around after Coronado. Then Tyler Toffoli to Max Knights there. We'll see if there's any more sleepovers with the Sharks this year, and Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini. And then Gene on the clock here.
Which I found out you can get a bobblehead for opening night.
Yes, I got asked to go to that game by the ticket rep I have, but can't make it. I think it's a Thursday. I think I can't. My wife has to work that night or something like that. So yeah, I couldn't. My first Sharks game will not be till Saturday, November 21st. It's a 4:00 local puck drop because it's a 7:00 hockey night in Canada game. Sharks Senators. So also it's a 4:00 puck drops are friendly to a guy who has a 6-year-old and wants to take him to a game. And Tippett went. Damn it. Brock Faber, Elias Lindholm, Patrick Kane as we're about to close out round 16. There's one guy on the board that if he comes back to me, I will be ecstatic, and if he doesn't, I will be disappointed. Let's see here. Yeah, did you see the Sharks' new center ice logo, by the way, with the gills in there? They have 35 of them for the 35th anniversary. Very sharp. Very excited for this year. And there goes. Speaking of the Sharks, Yaroslav Askarov. Had I waited on a third goalie, I'd be trying to get him real bad. In a keeper or a dynasty league, you bet you want to get your hands on Mr. Askarov. I expect big things out of him.
Jacob Trouba there makes are penalty minutes count? No, okay. I was gonna say you got hits and blocks.
Adam Fantilli, that's one of the guys I was hoping might come back to me there. He's gone earlier in a lot of mock drafts. I'm surprised to see him go as late as he did. So good value pick there by Josh Wagner. Fantilli can step it up this year for sure as he grows, and Columbus expects more out of him. Josh Norris is in that Dylan Cousins trade. We saw Dylan Cousins go recently as well. So Norris, that second line center there in Buffalo. We'll see what Chris Wassel does with his last pick. He took Brock Faber, William Eklund, and Joey DeCord the previous 3 rounds, and the versatile Mikhail Granlund the round before that. So that's it, folks. We're inside the last round here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9 picks to go. Thank you for sticking with us. And we've moved this along. We're going to get this draft done in just under an hour here.
This is faster than I thought it was going to be. With 60 seconds per pick, this was a pretty fast draft.
We're just all so locked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just know.
So yeah, Jonathan Marchessault goes there. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was a little worried when we were at the 60-second clock, but everybody's been respectful of that. If everybody's had a handful of picks where they've taken their time because they've had decisions to make, and there's nothing wrong with that because there's been plenty of picks. People know that guy's there and they just grab him. So Jonathan Marchessault for Chris Wassel's last pick there. You know, hey, I'm in on the Nashville Predators on a bounce back this year too, at least from a fantasy perspective. You know, maybe not on the ice. The Blues are my adopted Central team. Ant's adopted the Mammoth. Chris has adopted the Wild. Those are our adopted Central division.
I have not a single Minnesota Wild skater.
There you go.
But I have 3 Boston Bruin players. So, I mean, I don't know. Things happen. I don't know how it happened.
And about to make his last pick here. He got Hannafin, Lindgren, Doughty, Kadri, Pionk. You know, and that's all what Ant does. He just quietly puts together solid teams. Doesn't show off. Nothing, no flashiness. He just gets the job done. Kind of like Gene. Cutter Gauthier. Go off the board there in Anaheim. They're expecting him to take this big step this year. Jake McCabe. Chris is on the clock here. We got 4 picks to go. He takes Chris Letang. How many more seasons does Letang have left in that body? We'll see. There are two guys I'd be happy to get, so I'm going to be happy with this draft one way or the other. There's one guy I'd much rather get than the other, but I'll take either or here. Let's see if World War III snipes me. He does not. I got to get my requisite shark on the team, right? Talked about this guy with the sleepover earlier. Give me Will Smith to close out the draft.
That was also on my my list.
Brock Besser was the other. If he had gone the pick before me, Smith, then I was going to take Brock Besser there. So I was okay with both. But nonetheless, the draft in the books. We did it.
Well done.
All right. Let's recap our teams. Let's go in order of the three of us that's selected. So the first of us to go is Mr. Anthony here at Ant Rivera 86, 7th overall pick. And you started with Mr. Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah, thanks to Wally G for going Connor Hellebuck third through everything after that off course. Appreciate that. So I was either going to get Kucherov, Makar, or Kaprizov, and I was happy about that. So really happy getting Kirill Kaprizov to start. Braden Point, I like going in the second round and taking him as well. And then, Chris had set it up all drafts. If you take Kaprizov and get Boldy in the third round, that's huge. So excited to do that as well. Lane Hudson was my first defenseman. I had him last year, big part of my team. So bringing him back. And then I solidified the center position with Nico Hischier. I have to have at least one Devil, and Nico Hischier is my guy. Then I went back to back on goalies, got them out of the way like I did in my last mock draft on our show. Dustin Wolf, Logan Thompson. I have a lot of high hopes for Wolf. He's been a winner throughout his whole
through his short career. He's been a winner.
He's but like up and down his even in his minor league career and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's going to result in wins up here, but I think he'll at least produce some good stats that we have out there. Logan Thompson, I liked. Nikolai Ehlers, I took a little bit of a shot on dual eligibility. Tomas Hertl, can never say no to him. Jackson Lacombe will round out the top defensive pairing with Lane Hudson. Pavel Buchnevich has the triple eligibility, and I like that. Neil Pionk and Drew Doughty finished out the top four of the defense. I can't believe Nazem Kadri dropped out only 13, so had to take him there. Great. Charlie Lindgren, because I needed to finish off that goalie tandem, and I was happy to get it from Washington. And then Noah Hannafin as my bench defenseman. Can't go wrong there. Cutter Gauthier, I'm taking a chance on. It was either going to be him or Will Smith. So, I cannot complain one bit about this draft here. Now, all I need is for these guys to stay healthy, because that's not what happened to me last season.
And I thank you for not taking Will Smith, because I wanted one shark, and at the end of the draft, end of a 17-round draft, no problem. Get to my team in a minute, but we all came. One of the reasons we came here today was for potential misery for at Fuzzy Chris 91. And while we didn't get it in the fashion we expected, we did get it. We did get some misery here. Take us through it, Chris.
We did. Listen, I will start off by saying this is not the team I had mocked for like 3 months, but here we are. David Pastrnak comes to me. To be honest, I wanted Matthews at that spot. That's where I thought he would go. Didn't happen. Coming back the other way, Jack Eichel goes. So Sam Reinhart, he does have center eligibility. Maybe he takes more faceoffs now with Barkov out. Celebrini as well. Kind of, some of the top goalies were going. I didn't really want to reach at that point. Mackenzie Weegar came back. I felt like the run was going to start there, and
sure did.
You were right. Behold, it did. So I got ahead of that. The problem is in round 5, some of the defensemen I wanted went off the board. So I dug a little bit deeper into Elias Pettersson's numbers. I don't like them still. I don't think he should have been taken in the 5th round, and yet here I am. So then I got incredible value on Mackenzie Blackwood here. We saw him go as early as the 2nd round. Getting him in the 6th round here, again, I thought that if I grab him here, maybe goalies will start to go. Lo and behold, I was at least right. Dougie Hamilton comes the other way. I think with Luke Hughes still being unsigned, with everything going on there, Jersey stays healthy, Dougie will be a part of it. Dylan Gunther comes the other way. Utah is a good team. I expect him to be part of the offense there. So nothing wrong with that. Then I needed a second goalie. Once I saw Wassel take Jet Greaves, I knew that this draft was completely unhinged and I wasn't going to get what I was looking for. So I needed a goalie. Sam Montembeault was who I had, but Craig, staying true to himself, made sure that he took both goalies that I was looking as a number 2. So I took Jeremy Swayman there. Vince Dunn doesn't do one thing super well, but does everything well. I also expect Seattle to get pummeled a lot, so he's going to block shots. I enjoy that. Bo Horvat takes a ton of faceoffs, and in this league it counts. So I took him. Because my goaltending is not that great, I needed one. Thatcher Demko as your third goalie, it could be a lot worse. If I spot start him correctly, if he stays healthy, if Vancouver is not as miserable, then it should be okay. This is where I felt like I really started to cook, though. Sean Monahan, he was very good in Columbus until he got hurt. Takes a lot of faceoffs as well. Columbus was a very good offensive team, so I enjoy that. Then it was a combination of just players who are center eligible, but also wing. So Pierre-Luc Dubois, I needed a left winger. Yes, it's a center. He plays left wing as well, or at least they give him the eligibility. I'll take it on a Washington team that is still relatively the same. Even if it takes a step back, it's fine. Cole Perfetti and Morgan Geekie both have triple position eligibility. Both guys on the top line, right? Perfetti is also going to get that top power play minutes there that's left by Nikolai Ehlers. Maybe this is his breakout since I couldn't get Lafreniere. Geekie pairs well with Pasta. Somebody's got to score in Boston. So I figure those two could figure it out. I needed a defenseman. At this point, I was deep here. I needed somebody. So I took the man who's had a heart condition and consistently gets hurt. I figured that would be the best way to spend my 17th round pick. Maybe he gets traded somewhere else. Probably not. Maybe Pittsburgh gets pummeled and he blocks a lot of shots. I'm hoping maybe Pittsburgh goes with a 2 defensemen on their top power play unit. That'd be pretty cool. But overall, not how I expected how this was going to go. Not terrible, though. Not the worst.
I can't wait for the weekly check-ins this year with you. That is going to be fun. Just to hear you either crap on guys you don't like in the first place that are underperforming, or for you to praise guys that you never thought you'd have to praise. So very excited with that. So now my turn to go through my team, picking on the turn at pick 12. That's where I love to be. And yeah, let's start with Quinn Hughes is there. Listen, if Hughes is there, he's going with one of those 2 picks. So it was one or the other. Like I had said when I took Connor, I hadn't been taking him in a lot of mock drafts, but the importance of left wing in terms of like when that position goes, it's tough to really fill that hole. Wanted to lock in a bona fide top left wing there. I achieved that. Coming back on round 3 there, Clayton Keller, may even have a bigger year with Utah with the Mammoth. Again, because of that left, he's got dual eligibility. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I either have my 2 left wings, or if I find another one later, I could bump him right wing. Looking at the goalie situation here, once Shesterkin went at the to open round 2, and I knew I wasn't going to get him on the turn, perhaps, and that was maybe greedy to me. I expect him to be around the end of the 3rd round. I said, let me get one because, if I wait too long, I thought maybe that goalie run that ended up starting in round, 6 was going to happen in round 5. So I jumped on Gustafsson. Blackwood injury history worries me a little bit there. And there goes Stolars right after that. That was a guy that maybe I was considering as well, but happy to get Gustafsson there. Dylan Larkin sometimes gets overlooked, but he's still a quality center one. Even if he's not a top shelf center one, he's still a very good center one. Maybe a tiny bit of regret not taking Sergachev over Theodore there, because I do love Sergachev, but we'll see. Maybe that's one of those picks that I thought I would kick myself for, and then I end up being happy with because, he's still going to be the top defenseman there in Vegas. Jordan Kyrou, like I said, one of the only guys that, consistently produces a ton of goals in St. Louis there. He'll round out my right wings there. Very okay with that. And then UC Saros, where, once that goalie run happened, I said, all right, I got to take something here. There's no way I'm going to get one in round 9 that I'm going to be happy as a goalie too with. So take Saros and keep my fingers crossed there. Joel Eriksson Ek, maybe, in some drafts a little bit early for him, but I think he gets overlooked. And as a second center, very okay with that. Charlie McAvoy still sitting there as a defenseman 3, and then look at the amount of green that starts to go in that 10th round. So glad I pulled the trigger there. Steven Stamkos, triple position eligibility. If there ever was a bounce back candidate, that's the guy. Then, like I talked about when I made the pick with Dostal, I've been talking about him every mock draft pretty much. He's still sitting there at goalie 3. It's getting thin. I can't afford to wait anymore, especially if Saros plays close to the way he played last year. Jimmy Dostal behind Joel Quenneville coached the team. Devin Taves is my 4th defenseman. Could have taken Philip Hronek there, but decided, Taves will get those cast-off Makar points, and then Logan Cooley. Like I said, I don't love to go with 2 teams, players on the same top 6, but at this stage, they're going to be on different lines, and he's going to be my utility guy. Lekanen gets shorthanded points. As far as bench defensemen go, Thomas Chabot could be a defenseman 4 on some teams, so I'll take that guy going in and out. And then it doesn't show it on the board there, but there's Will Smith, center right wing eligibility. Whether they play him with Celebrini as his wing or they make him the second line center, I think he'll get some real production there in his second season. Very excited about his prospects there. But there we go. Let's take one last look at the draft board there. Other guys, we got Frank, we got Josh, we got Wally, Chris Wassel, Gene, Max Knights, the Silver Fox himself, Craig, Andrew, World War III. We got all these teams here. We'll get that posted later. But fellas, we did it.
Yeah,
You
man.
did fantastic, though. Well done.
We got that draft done in just under an hour, 17 rounds, 60-second clock. I thought we'd still be going. Nonetheless, we got it done.
So if you're on the West Coast, you still have time to hang out with your wife or girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go eat some dinner. I'm skating in a 10 o'clock pickup tonight. Very excited with that. So it's been a long but fun day here. And now we'll do one more mock this week. We'll do a 14-teamer on Thursday. And that'll be it for fantasy hockey mock season. Frank checking in. I like my team. I kind of punted defense, though. Defense, you can kind of retool the season a little bit, fill that bottom out a little bit. Gene, I need the Devils to win the division, so there we go. Heavy Devils team there.
From your lips to God's ears.
Eric Dusay checking in. Great job, boys. And hey, thank you for all hanging out, whether you were a part of the draft or not. It's more fun to do this when you got people in the room watching and participating. So thank you for that. And like I said, we're going to be here every Thursday all season long. Now, as always, we promote our other podcast before we get out of here. Subway to Shea should be interesting here, the next edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like it's either going to be tomorrow night or Monday night, and it'll either be a preview into the postseason or a funeral for this collapse that has taken part. And they're still alive. They must win, but I'm looking at the score right now. Reds are up 7-3. So if they win this game, the Mets have to win tomorrow, and the Reds have to lose tomorrow. That's the only scenario.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Milwaukee has nothing left to play for at this point, correct? They're kind of locked into their position.
Milwaukee, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like they're going to maybe rally and win a game they need to win. So
no.
So that's no bueno for the Mets. But Subway to Shea podcast is going to have it covered either way. So make sure you tune into that Slapshot podcast, Chris. What do we got?
Monday, we're going to have a couple of sleepers to talk about, specifically players in their contract year, because that apparently adds at least 14% performance boost. This is 100, that's the stat I hear. I don't know where I got it. You can't fact check it, but we're going to go over some players that are in contract years who are going to go absolutely bazonkers. So you need to know their names. So when you get to the draft table, you can pick them up and expect big things.
Artemi Panarin, a guy in a contract year, I'm hoping goes bonkers for the Rangers this year. We'll see how that goes this year for the Broadway shirts. And, of course, Rip and Riff with myself and at Mr. Jared Moore. We will be with you on Monday talking a little already for the NFL season, how it we'll talk a little hockey, too, as well. I know he's got a pack lined up for Rip. We'll talk about some baseball playoff matchups. For our guys in the chat, Chris Rosser, good drug test fans. Okay, it's probably the proper approach there. Either way, celebratory or sad, you're prepared for both. Just go out and have a few. Frank also, good luck, guys. Let's go Mets. Yeah, we are very happy about that. But for this edition of Total Hockey Now, Batman over there at Fuzzy Chris 91, Chris Ramirez, and at Ant Rivera 86, Anthony Rivera. I'm at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Back with you Thursday. One more mock, little Hart Trophy odds, Calder odds. Put a wrap on the NHL offseason with the real season coming up here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.